Okay, it's back on me. You should have sound again. Unfortunately, when Blair's computer crashed, something messed up his OBS completely, and all his sound channels have, like, disappeared, so that makes it...
Matt just disappeared, too.
Matt just disappeared, too, so that makes playing some ads tricky, unfortunately, so hopefully he can get that figured out.
Hard to do when we're live.
It is difficult to do when we are streaming live for the whole day, so... looking at the chat, yes, sounds, yeah. Sounds. Sounds are good when the tech works. What's everyone looking forward to? Any new games out there that you're interested in maybe learning? Anything new? New hotness? Things we should be adding to the Terminal City Library for next year? We'd love to know. We're always looking for suggestions. We can only play so many games, so we rely on recommendations from everybody. Andrea at Rain City is amazing and always tells us what the new hotness is, so this is a big help, but yeah, we can only play so many games.
Time Stories and Final Girl Season 2.
D says Time Stories and Final Girl Season 2. Joshua says Fight to Survive with James Kerr. It's on Kickstarter now. Oh, very awesome. Very awesome. I just backed on Kickstarter, and I'm probably going to say it wrong. Yazaba's Bed and Breakfast. It's a role-playing game. It looks amazing. But it's just on Kickstarter now, so I won't get it until like next summer, but looks really good. It's by the folks who did the Wanderhome RPG. So, which Wanderhome, again, a recommendation from someone else. That is from the team at Roarcats. If you want to play an RPG that does Cobra Kai, this does that. Oh, very cool, very cool. I just finished the latest season of Cobra Kai. It was very good. We are just about ready to switch over.
You're not on stream yet.
We're just waiting for the Omnigamers to come on stream.
Nope, one of them popped up.
Rain City says Kickstarter entered 2 days ago, but there's late pledges for Illiterati. Looked very cool at Gamma. I'll have pics for you on stream. Awesome. Excited to see. Blair and I had the opportunity to go to Gamma back in 2017, and it was a lot of fun. Just meeting all the publishers, getting to talk to them. Their enthusiasm is so infectious and just really helps get you into the games that they're releasing. So it's a lot of fun. We hope we can go next year, but... Now or Never, the next game to Above and Below is great. Oh, that's good to know.
So it was Above and Below, then Near and Far. And now I guess the next one's going to be Now and Never.
Now or Never. Oh, very cool. There is a copy of Above and Below in the silent auction, donated by Panda Game Manufacturing. So if anyone's interested, it's there. Brand spanking new. It looks like the Omnigamers are just about ready to go. Thumbs up. I'm getting a thumbs up, so...
They gotta give me 2 minutes so I can put them into this...
Oh, Blair needs just to set up his overlay real quick, so...
Daniel, a quick question for you. Are you going to be streaming the board display? Yeah? Or he is? He's gonna be doing the... Mark's gonna be doing the display of the board. So I should put him as the big box? Yep. Okay, let's do that. I know
Above and Below is a great game. You should snatch it up for sure from the auction. It's also in the Terminal City Library, and I believe Near and Far is as well. So next year, if you are interested in playing them, they will be in our library. And maybe we'll look at getting added Now or Never. added some short descriptions for the RPGs on offer in the... Oh, perfect, Joshua. So I'll add those descriptions you came up with to the auction items. Once we transition away from me, just taking a second. And to be fair, Blair had this all set up, all the OBS stuff set up a few days ago, but computer crashes, not so great. They kind of put a big foible into our planning, which such is life. As I mentioned before, we are hoping to return in person next March, middle to end of March. But I'll have the exact dates for you in our closing tomorrow evening. Really excited. We'll be at the Croatian Cultural Center again. Yeah, excited to see everybody's faces again. It'll be good. We're really happy that we can see like our fully vaccinated friends again. It's very nice. That's why we have people here at our house. Almost ready, Blair?
Just about.
Sorry.
Just about.
Okay, sorry everyone. Off to play Lionhearted. Have fun. Oh, Dee says, OBS is finicky like that. If you don't export the settings, they sometimes all just disappear. Yeah.
That's kind of what happened.
Yeah. What else can I chat about? Okay, I mentioned the silent auction. I will do another shout out of all of our wonderful, amazing sponsors since we can't run their promo ads. Let me just get my list. Oh, I had the list. Okay. So we'll shout out Rain City Games first. They're a longtime Terminal City Tabletop Convention sponsor. They're amazing. They always come and vend at our show in person, and they are super supportive, letting us do our board game rentals and shirt pickups and stuff at their locations. So, really great. So go visit them in Vancouver and New Westminster. Send them some love. Of course, we just saw them on air, the folks at the Ready to Roll RPG show. You can watch them live on Twitch, and you can watch their videos on their YouTube channel on a Filthy Quest line, so please check them out. Send them some love. Their show was a lot of fun. They're based here in Vancouver, which is amazing. The Raven Gamer Bistro, which is a board gaming cafe and bistro here in Langley, BC. They have wonderful, amazing food. They try and locally source a lot of their ingredients, which is really great. Adventure Dice, of course, which is me and Blair. We sell dice and RPG accessories, lots of fun things. The Victory Point Board Game Lounge, which will be opening up soon in Burnaby. Hopefully check them out. They're just doing their renovations and working on getting their permits and stuff like that, so check them out. The folks at Roarcat Reads, who I just mentioned, they're always reviewing awesome role-playing games and books and building a wonderful online community that's queer and nerdy, so we hope you check them out. Diabolical Dungeoneer, they produce some wonderful 3D printed tabletop accessories, and they're all hand painted. They're really beautiful works of art. They donated a couple items for our silent auction, so please bid on them. Visit their Etsy shop. They're amazing. Panda Games Manufacturing, another longtime sponsor of Terminal City. They produce a lot of the board games that we know and love. The one that instantly comes to mind is Charterstone, because it's one of my favorites. And actually, Shannon Lent, who is the founder of Terminal City, actually works for Panda now, which is super cool. So we love them. They donated a bunch of games for the auction as well. Composed Dream Games RPG Marketplace, Joshua, who was in the chat just now, donated a whole bunch of RPGs, both print and digital. They sell mostly Canadian indie RPGs, so we hope you check them out and try some homegrown RPG systems. And lastly, Imperial Hobbies. They're one of the biggest hobby shops here in British Columbia. They're located in Richmond at the airport. So thank you to all of our wonderful sponsors. We really, 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 really appreciate it. All your support in helping us weather some difficult years. So Blair just gave me the thumbs up that we're ready to start the Omnigamers. Thank you all for your patience with our technical difficulties, and I am going to pass it over to Mark and Daniel from the Omnigamers Club.
Oh, hello. I think we're live.
Hi guys.
Hello,
How's it
everyone.
going?
Thanks for the handover. We are the Omnigamers Club Podcast. I am Daniel Wynter.
And I'm Mark Yuasa.
Yes, I mean you may know me from my my solo content at Board Game Feast, but I guess I can save more of that for tomorrow, perhaps. Today it's all about the Omnigamers. So normally we're a podcast we release every couple of weeks or so. Our twist being that we generally alternate between the digital and analog realms, and we don't discriminate. So video games and board games are all fair game for us. So we usually, I guess today, we'll try and contain ourselves to the tabletop realm, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And I like to think we cover some off the beat games, maybe not the biggest titles that are coming out at any given time. We don't discriminate in terms of time frame either. We tackle older games such as the one we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited to get started talking. Should we do a little bit of what you've been playing, Daniel?
Yeah, let's just we can answer some questions, see what else we've been playing, because what we're playing today is pretty short. Teaching me how to play it aside, so we can just shoot the air a little bit. So what have you been playing lately?
Yeah, well, I'm super excited based on our last episode about the video game, which I'll just talk about for 2 seconds. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands that just came out yesterday. Played a bunch of hours yesterday, played an hour or so with my 10-year-old today. It was a blast. Love to talk more about it in the future.
Excellent.
In terms of
very jealous of
tabletop,
that.
oh man, I got so much to say, but I'll hold on to it for now. In terms of tabletop, I'm pretty much sticking to BGA in the age of COVID, but I'm trying out some not new titles to me, but some titles I haven't played in a while. I've been enjoying playing Century Spice Road and Keyflower on BGA, some games that I've enjoyed in the past, and felt like I felt the hankering to play again. And along with that, Russian Railroads as well. Have you played any of those titles?
Long time ago, I played a little bit of Keyflower back in the day. It didn't particularly grab me. It's hard to say what it is. I just struggled to wrap my head around some of the strategies required in that one. And Russian Railroads, we've played a little bit online on BGA. That was good fun. So I look forward to trying that in person one day. As with most of those, a lot of moving pieces, which I guess is good for tracking information online. But it'd be a fun one to get to the table sometime.
Yeah, Keyflower you have to play at least once in real time. Async is not the best unless you're pretty intimately familiar with the overarching flow of the game. But I'd be happy to teach you a game sometime. It's really quite fun when you play it in person. And BGA is not bad either.
No. Yeah, I mean, I've obviously been partaking in a lot of BGA myself. I made the mistake of entering an Agricola tournament. I know you were just talking last episode about how you've played something like 200 games of Agricola online, so I'm quite intimidated to actually play against you.
I did preface that by saying 200 solo games of Agricola,
yes,
which is a bit different.
Well, I've been thoroughly schooled so far. I think my first game I lost by I had half of the points of my opponent, so that goes to show how badly that's going. But I've actually been quite lucky. After a pretty dry run of games in person, I actually got a couple of new games to the table this week. A neighbor had in June Imperium, the worker placement / deck building hybrid. You have to differentiate because there's like half a dozen different June games out now. But I played it a couple of times when it first came out. It must have been 2020, I think, around the same time as Arnak, which was our very first episode. And it left me with some pretty mixed feelings, but I was reserving sort of making a declarative statement until I A, had seen the new movie, and B, played it in person. I've now done both of those things. The physical movie, sorry, the movie streamed, hit streaming in Canada this last weekend. So I finally watched that. And then immediately after went and played Dune Imperium. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. It landed a lot better for me this time. It's definitely not as streamlined as, say, Arnak, and it runs a lot longer, certainly, but it feels like it has a lot more depth in each of its sort of components. And like the deck building feels more in depth, the worker placement has more depth, and so you've got the combat going, like you've it's a whole little mini game of putting in fighters to have a big combat at the end of each round. And yeah, it almost goes to the opposite end of something like Arnak, in that every single location just feels incredibly, it feels like the theme comes before mechanics, if you know what I mean. Like they force everything to fit in around that theme so closely that it doesn't always necessarily feel balanced, but it is very much in theme with that Dune universe. So that was good fun. I look forward to trying that again sometime.
Yeah, I've played Dune Imperium exactly once, and I was familiar with the subject material in terms of the book in the earlier iterations, and I thought it was nice and thematic. The conflict definitely with the sort of the warring was cool, and something that Arnak doesn't have. So yeah, I'd definitely love to try it again.
Yeah, well, this was I was also playing with the Rise of X expansion that came out last year. It's relatively recent, which also sort of helped sand off a few of the rougher edges I thought the base game had. So yeah, definitely worth taking a look. Just quickly, I'll cover. I also had the chance to play Creature Comforts from Kids Table Board Games, KTBG, a sort of the sister company of Burnt Island, one of my favorite publishers. I think they're based out of Toronto, Canadian publisher, and this is a sort of family imprint of games. And this is the first one I tried from them. I slept on the Kickstarter, but one of my friends fortunately backed it with the fully deluxe fired edition that's just dripping with theme, every wooden component. It's thematically it's very similar to Everdell. So you're trading in berries and apples and mushrooms and building little cabins for your wooden critters. There's like tiny little wheelbarrow tokens that you use to collect your your resources. It's just too adorable. So it was deeper than I expected for a family game. There's quite a bit going on across the board, but it's also very generous, and it doesn't really punish you. There's always multiple ways you have to achieve what you want. So it was quite clever in that there is worker placement, but you don't block each other off from, like, any number of players can go to any space, but you need dice to unlock those workers. So a particular space, this might need specifically a 4. This space might need two dice that add up to 11 or more. And so the friction, instead of like fighting each other, is just, do you have the right dice to unlock that space? But that also means you can all be playing at the same time. So every player is placing their workers simultaneously, which keeps things moving at a nice breezy pace, while still having a little bit of tension from the sort of comboing the workers and the dice. So I thought that was quite clever.
Wow, that sounds pretty sophisticated. It's not a kids game then. I assumed
No,
it was
I mean,
based on the art.
for older kids, I guess I don't know what the exact age. I'm guessing probably like 10 plus or something like that. It's a family weight game, but there is quite a bit going on. But as I said, regardless of what you do, you're not going to. There's going to be multiple ways to achieve what you need. So it's not going to punish you and then lock you off from anything really.
Nice. Yeah, I'd like to check that out, especially with my kids, 7 and 10.
Totally.
Seems like the right ages. That dice mechanic reminded me a bit of an old school game called Kingsburg. You remember that?
Yes, yeah, I saw that comparison. I've not played that for 10 years or something. I do remember quite liking that. I have vague memories. I think Marco Polo does something similar with dice placement, perhaps. I don't remember. It's been too long since I played that as well. But I think Kingsburg I've definitely seen it compared to.
Very cool. What do you think? Are you ready to move into our main segment?
Oh, I guess so. I mean, I'm ready to lose.
Well, you can't lose when you're learning a new skill, right? You're learning a new game. But
Yes.
before we start that, I would be remiss to say some thanks to Andrea for inviting us to be on the TCTC stream. Very excited to be here for Terminal City. I mean, I love to go in person. I'm wearing my Collector's Item 2020 shirt from the first virtual one. So I'm really excited to be here again, virtually streaming for TCTC. And I think we would be remiss not to do the land acknowledgement component.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna say it now before we start the main segment. So we acknowledge that the city of Vancouver is situated on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. So we're lucky to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for that.
Okay, so are you ready to learn a new game?
I guess so. Let me bring that up. I think
No
you
worries.
already sorted out the invites. Okay.
Yeah, I sent you an invite for the virtual, but I do have some real world favors here. So this is my copy of Lost Cities. This is the old art. So if you're looking for it, make sure to check out the new artwork. But it's in the same two-player Cosmos style box. This one's a real treat and classic, perfect for couples or good friends. And the game, a round of it plays in about 10 minutes. So I would highly recommend this game for one of those, best out of 3, best out of 5 type games. It's composed of mostly just simple cards, but it does come with this cardboard trifold here. And it's really superfluous. You don't have to take this with you. If you want to take this game on vacation or something, just put the cards in a Ziploc and you should be fine. It's just a little visual aid there. The main component is these big chunky cards. And this is a playing card for size comparison there.
Like the tarot size cards, right?
Yeah, that's right. And the artwork on them is really quite beautiful. The game consists of 5 suits of cards, of numbered cards, numbered from 2 to 10. So you can almost play this with just a standard card deck, but just like our good friend Reiner Knizia's other games, that's the designer, by the way, Reiner Knizia's, a lot of numbers involved, but it still plays really fluidly. So there's going to be a set of cards valued 2 to 10 in all of the 5 suits colors. Additionally, you're going to find 3 of these little handshake cards, and they are basically like, think of them as kind of like a gamble. So they're a bit risky, but I'll show you how that works in just a moment. So that's it in terms of the physical components. Let's jump over to BGA then. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Were you able to join the game there?
Yes. I'm already. I am in. I guess we should just give a couple of quick a rundown here. Where did I put my notes? I think this game was originally released in '99, so that makes it nearly as old as me, I guess. Yeah, over 20 years old now. So it's been around for quite a while, though there's been quite a few different implementations as well. I know, I mean, of both of this game, they recently came up with a new edition, I believe still by the same publisher, Cosmos, but with the artwork by Vincent Dutrait, which looks quite lovely. So I might have to see if I can track that down. But they've also been, I know there was a board game version, there's a dice version, there's a roll and write version that came out last year, I think.
There's so many extensions, expansions. So don't be confused. This is Lost Cities, the card game we're playing. Like Daniel said, there's a roll and write. And also the most confusing is that there is a Lost Cities, the board game, which is up to 4 players. Whereas we're playing the strictly 2-player version of the game. So do be aware of that if you're seeking this out. But this is just a fantastic game for couples, like I said, or taking on a vacation.
You know what? Let me just minimize this screen share so I don't get spoilers inadvertently.
Yeah,
too. I might need every advantage I can get though. Oops, I think one of the cameras is off Are we both screen sharing? No. So I think your screen is sort of duplicated on the stream.
Okay. It might just be delayed a
But
bit.
let's just give Blair a second to figure that out.
Cool. Okay. Why don't I do a little bit of the explanation first?
Okay.
While that's happening. So I told you that there's 5 suits in the 5 different colors, and then there's those 3 little I think they're called negotiation cards. You can kind of think of them as multipliers. So you're gonna get dealt a hand of cards, and of course it's random, so you don't know what you're gonna get. I think it's 8 cards you get initially. And the tricky thing about this game is that it's good if you have the high value cards in your opening hand, but it's also good if you have the low value cards. Of course, it's never going to be quite simple. The goal, I will say, in this game is that ultimately you cannot win in all 5 suits. That's just guaranteed. It's not going to happen. There's only 44 cards in the deck, as you see here. And you're going to have, we're going to take alternating turns. So you're only going to get 20 cards laid out on the table, about. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So really, you want to win in about 2 or 3 suits. You might even win the game by winning in 1 suit, but do not specialize in more than that. Okay, so that's going to be my firm advice there. And how do you win in a suit? Like a lot of Reiner Knizia games, this game, it's about numbers and risk. So in every suit that you play a card in, you're scoring negative 20 points. Okay, so you just start out in debt. Okay, but I notice how I said that you play a card in. You don't have to play a card in every suit. Okay, just remember that. But as soon as you play even just 1 card, you're negative 20 points. So to actually win, the theme is that we're like competing explorers, archaeologists in Indiana Jones times, turn of the 20th century, seeking artifacts to plunder from native peoples all over the world. So equal opportunity exploitation here. You'll notice if you look at the board that we have a sort of Egyptian hieroglyphs in the yellow. You got some sort of Atlantean type theme, underwater theme in the blue. You got the snowy Himalayan climbs in the white. You got the jungle foresty Mayan kind of temples in the green. And then you have this like kind of hellish scape kind of Mars surface in the red.
One of these is not like the other.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really get that. So
how to win. Lovecraftian mythos, obviously.
We're really exploring here. So how you win in this is to even break even, to make a profit, to score any points, you have to get greater than 20 in the particular color you're playing in, okay? So say, I'm guessing you have a couple of low cards and you have a couple of high cards. If you have a color you're close to 20 in, you're pretty good, okay? You'll probably want to go in that color. If you have a couple of color, a suit that you have maybe the 2, 3, and the 4 or 5, or some of the lower cards in, that might be a good option too. And so kind of keep in mind a suit to start with. You have to choose at least one to score some points. And here's how the flow of the game is going to work. It looks like you're first. So what's going to happen is on every turn, we're going to take alternating turns. You have to put a card down, and then you have to pick up a card. Okay. So there's in each suit, there's 2 places you can put it. There's the sort of the neutral strip in the middle, and then there's your side of the board. Okay. So like you and I both might be competing for the yellow suit. Okay. As an example, but one of us is going to win. But we don't really know that because we don't know what the cards available are. Okay. All the cards are going to come out, but I don't know which ones you have. You don't know which ones I have. So with your first card, you can put it down either in the neutral area in the middle, which scores you nothing, by the way. It's just like the trash pile for that given suit. Right. If you put a card there, it doesn't count negative towards you. You haven't played a card in that suit yet. Okay.
This is literal pile. Okay.
Yeah, it's a literal discard pile for that suit. So if you put it there, that's fine. That can count as your play. Or you may choose to, if you're confident in a suit, you may choose a card and place it on your side of the board, which it won't let you put it on mine. So you're fine. So either trash or score towards you. So you're going to put a card down and then you're going to pick a card up. But note that the card you can pick up could be from the deck, but it could also be from one of the trash piles.
Okay.
So if I put a card down that might not be useful for me, it might be useful for you. So keep that in mind, that any card that you give up might be helping the other guy in a sense. So that's one of the tricky factors of this game. The other tricky factor of this game is that you can only play cards from low value to high. So say that you had a yellow 5, okay? If you put down a yellow 5 as your first card, you can't then put down a yellow 2. The 2, 3, 4 are no longer available for you to play in that color, right? So you have to start somewhere. So you probably don't want to start by putting down a 10, because the highest you could score is 20, right? You have to score 20 plus. So don't put down a 10 as your first card. But you might have to put down an 8 as your first card, for instance, because if you can put down an 8 and then a 9 and then a 10, you've scored yourself 27 points.
You're in the green.
Minus 20 is 7 points. Okay.
Cool.
So yeah. So the trick is you got to put them down in ascending value, and anything above 20 is profit.
But we're each keeping our own ascending piles that are separate from each other.
Exactly. But you get to see what I'm building, because it's open information after I've placed it. So so that's the core of the game. Now, what about these negotiation cards? You know, the handshake cards?
Yes.
So what do they do? Like I said, they're a gamble. There's 3 of them per color. So there's 3 in each suit. So in, say, the yellow suit, there's 3 yellow handshake cards. If you're going to use them, you have to use them first, okay? So if you put down that yellow 5, you can't play any of the handshakes after that. They have to be played down first. And when you put a handshake down in a column on your side of it, that means you are doubling the bet that you're going to score points there. So whatever, in that previous examples, I said you played an 8, 9, and a 10, you'd score 27. Minus 20 is a net profit of 7 points, right? If you played 1 handshake card, it would double the 7 points. If you put down another handshake card, it would triple.
Oh, wow.
And if you put the 3rd handshake card, it would quadruple the points. But the risky factor here is if you score negative points, it multiplies the negative points. Does that make sense?
It multiplies the difference after 20. So it doesn't just multiply all values, just the difference after you've multiplied the 20, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. So whatever the final score is after that 20 has been taken off of it, it will multiply that either way, whether negative or positive. Okay. So don't put a negotiation card, don't put a handshake card down unless you're pretty sure that you're going to do well in that color. All right. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, have to play cards ascending. Negotiation cards have to come first. On your turn, you have to put down a card and then pick up a card. And you can put a card into the neutral trash pile, which doesn't belong to you, or on your side of the track if you're confident you're going to score. And that's basically the game. The game ends, the round ends when the last card of the deck is played. And of course, you know, you could be drawing from the trash pile, so rounds can actually be a little longer, a little shorter, but ultimately they're going to be about 10 minutes.
Okay. So here's a question. Say we're both bidding on yellow. We both have managed to get positive, like we both have 20 plus points on yellow.
Yeah.
Like, does it matter who wins that, or do we both just get that the respective number of points regardless?
Both players will score points.
Okay, so you don't win
if they're positive.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only competition in the sense that you're competing for the resources, but there is no winner of yellow except the person. Both players can score points.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I believe it's your turn.
Excellent. Well,
ask any questions, but you got to put a card down.
Let me come out of the gate with a bad play, probably, but I've got a pretty good spread across the suits, so I'm not particularly strong at any one of them. So I'm just going to dump this for now and hope it gets something better.
Right.
And
so
that has already paid off. Excellent.
So good play. So that's a neutral card. So on my turn, I may pick that up if I'm even going for red, but I might not be.
As you said, it's good to have lots of low cards and lots of high cards. So
Yeah.
I don't know how valuable the 5s and 6s are.
So the good part of having good high cards is that they're going to score you points. But the bad part is they take up space in your hand until you can put out the low cards.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a multiplier.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel pretty. You can assume I feel pretty good about that color.
Oops, sorry. I think the animals are fighting upstairs. Not sure if that's coming through. Okay. Well, since we're making deals over here, I'm gonna bid on yellow.
All right. So for the folks who, I don't know if we're going to do this episode as audio podcast, but for the folks at home, basically Daniel and I have sort of invested in two different colors. I'm going for green. Daniel's going for yellow, presumably. I could be wrong. So I'm going to put a card down. I'm going to continue in green. So like I said, 2 is the lowest value. So if you have a 2, you can feel pretty sure about putting it down. That's the lowest card you can play. And then if you have a 3, that's not a bad place to start either, because missing 2 points, that's not the worst thing.
Here's oh, okay. I've currently got minus 40 points.
Mm-hmm.
So did that count when I put the red one down?
No. So why you have minus 40 points is that, remember I said, if you put any cards in a column, you get negative 20 points.
Yes.
And then at the end of the game, any negotiation cards are going to double whatever.
Oh, it's doubling the negative for yellow. Okay.
It's assuming you will never put any more cards in yellow.
Okay. Well, another question I forgot to clarify is, when does the game end?
The game ends when someone plays their last card and picks up the last card in the deck.
Oh, so we are going to play through the whole deck. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to play through the whole deck. And that's kind of the beauty of this game, is that it's sort of like mind reading. It's like, what is he going for? What's left in the deck? I'm going to hold out and gamble that he doesn't have anything in this color, but all the good cards are in the deck. And then you have to do stuff like hold on to cards you're not going for because you don't want me to get them. Right?
Yeah.
Sort of like a 2-player draft kind of.
Reminds me a little bit of Arboretum, a little bit. It has more of a spatial element in how you're playing the cards into a grid, but similar sort of, you can discard cards into other players' piles that you can draw from other players' discard piles, basically. So trying to hold cards in your hand to hide them is a big element. So if you didn't want that red 5, I'm going to bid on you not wanting a red 3.
It's an interesting gamble.
Now we're talking. Okay.
Now I might want to go for that 3, right? Because I can only pick the top card in a discard pile, right? So maybe I was waiting for lower value, but you never really know. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put down here. So basically, I put the green negotiation card. I put down the 2. I put down a 4 because 3 points, I don't really care if I miss 3 points. Do I want that red card is the question. Because you put down a 3 and a 5. Do I really care? No, I want to see what's in the deck.
That 3 is not going anywhere. I guess you could just draw a card back. You could sort of try and bluff to see if they want the card at all. And then once you know they don't want it, draw it back into your hand again.
Well, fates can change, like a expedition into the jungle. Fates can change at a moment. You could get that one high card in a color, which adds to another high card in a color, and then now you have a fighting chance in that suit.
Well, I'm feeling awfully jealous of all your green cards over there, so I'm going to come over here too.
Interesting. Interesting.
I guess I
Interesting.
should draw a card, huh? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. That's the nature of the game. All right. I'm going to place a bet that you are not going to take a turn to pick up that green, that blue 2 there. So
Well,
you have to play something, right? In this game,
yeah,
and that's the kind of it's a hand management game.
I'm not liking my options here, to be honest.
Yeah. And for such an old game, like 1999, this is 23 years old. This is such a seminal game, not only for, board games, but for Reiner Knizia. He's extended this mechanism in so many of his other games. Some players might be familiar with, some European players might be familiar with his game Celtis, which borrows a similar concept of the sort of the number tracks that you have to build up. And Lost City is the board game. Literally, you build up, but there's a little bit more risk and reward. Interesting.
Yeah, I can definitely see its evolutionary history where it's like inspired other games, like Arboretum, for example, and other hand management games. I've not played many of Reiner Knizia's games, other than as discussed in the podcast. I've been playing a lot of what was I saying? My City. His sort of legacy game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Reiner Knizia games, like I think I got bought into them fairly hard early on in when I was learning games in like I guess the mid to late 2000s. Because they're fairly easy to sort of wrap your head around, except for the scoring. The scoring is a little funky on some of his games.
Yeah, I can see this one being quite tricky. The maths of calculating, and especially with you doubling and tripling numbers, being a little fiddly on with the physical board. But that's one of those few games actually could work even better on BGA, where all that is done for you. So I blanked and you played the yellow 4. Well, just as well I didn't hold out for those, huh? Okay. Well,
sometimes you just got to put cards out there.
Still not liking what I've got here, to be honest. So I'm going to take a bet here.
Yeah, so for the folks listening, basically, Daniel and I have both played cards into yellow. So you can presume that we have cards that are roughly close to 20. That's the gamble you're going for when you put cards down, is that you can get to 20 or higher. So either he's got them, he's thinking the same thing of me, either he's got him or he thinks he's going to get him. All right, so what am I going to do here? I'm going to put down this one because it sounds like no one's going for red. I put down a red negotiation card. I want to pick up that blue 7 you put down. I like the looks of that.
I think I may have goofed there. Okay.
You generally don't want to throw out high value cards just because even if they don't help you, they might help the other guy.
Yeah, well, I figured if you had high blue, you would have played that too, but
Could.
maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you were fishing. Speaking of the Atlantis theme there. Okay. I again not liking my options, so I'm gonna have to start playing something here.
Oh, interesting.
Damn. Okay.
Tells me you got something in green. So you're invested in yellow and green, and I'm both invested in yellow and green, which is kind of funky. That's not that common.
One of us is messed up.
So I would say we're about, like a third of the way through a game, about halfway through. We're taking our time. That's fine. But at this point, after a few plays, you're going to want to look at the card deck. So the deck has 30 cards in it. So you got to estimate that you have roughly 15 turns. Maybe you got 16 because one of us could pull from the trash, right? But assume that you have to get the cards out. You have to leave yourself time to get those cards in the columns. Yeah, so don't wait too long. Yeah. Anyways, keeping that in mind, I'm going to put that green 6 down, knowing I can't wait around for the 5 to show up.
Well, there's no point in although the moment I said that, I realized maybe that is a mistake. So I'm actually not going to do that thing I was literally about to announce,
Hmm.
and not tell you what that was. So, starting to see some of the depths of the strategy already. Okay. In that case,
Yeah, this is a game best played with someone you know fairly well. Like you and I are podcast partners, but
just all dump on red.
if you play it with a good friend or a partner, like your significant other, it's all the better because just mind games, right? It's just light mind game.
Yeah, I can see it building up quite a bit of rivalry.
Right, because you're basically like, are you gonna do it? Does he have it? Does he not have it? That's the fun of it.
Wow. May have bid on the wrong colors here. Oh,
okay. That's all right. So that's close to 20.
Yeah, getting there. I don't know how confident I am in finding one of those other two, though.
So even if you scored a multiplier, if you can get the negative small, the multiplied negative is not so bad, right? So
what am I looking at? I'm looking at 15. I'm looking at -5 there, I guess, on green.
Yeah. Also, as the game progresses and both players have played out multiple cards, you know that you are starting to get cards that you can easily trash.
Yes.
The players have put down cards in a suit. You can throw out the multipliers, the negotiation cards freely. No one wants them at that point.
Same time, it feels a bit of a waste to trash too many cards. I just in terms of the time economy.
Yeah, it's at this point we have about 12 cards left, so like you got a little bit of wiggle room, but yeah, you can't wait too long for sure. Okay, so that tracks okay. That I'm going to renege on blue. I actually don't feel that good about it, but I'm going to pick up this red.
Oh, that's right. You picked up the 7 or something, wasn't it? So what have I done?
It's okay. Whatever happens, it'll be over soon.
Well, since we're both too invested in green now, no, this isn't going to be any use to anyone.
Exactly. Okay, so what can I do with that? Can I pull that off? I have about 12 actions, 10. Yeah, I could do that. I might do the same thing that you did earlier. We get rid of that 7 and pick up this.
Okay. Well, gonna keep dumping all those greens.
So for the people at home on audio, Daniel's and I are still competing in the same 2 colors.
No one's willing
to. Not that common.
Someone's finally coming to red. Okay. My last draw may have changed things though. Not sure if it changes things enough, but interesting.
Yeah, you see how I committed to my 3rd color. My score is way bigger in the negative.
Yeah. Well, now that I need to commit to something.
Yeah, you need to win the 2 colors you started, or commit to something else that you can win.
Yeah, winning is a strong word. Why don't we? And you know what? Let me just do some quick maths in my head. What was discarded there?
I wonder if you could actually look in the discard piles. I don't know if you're allowed to.
Yeah, let me do this.
Ooh, going for blue. Risky. So I doubled down on red, put 2 negotiation cards, and now my score is in the negative 80s.
Well, I'm not losing, so that's something. I didn't want to really show my hand here, but in the interest of not discarding other cards in my hands, I'm gonna play that. Draw that.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, I'll show my hand too. Basically,
There it is. Yeah.
yeah, I put down the green 10. So basically, I haven't seen which cards Daniel picked up. I tell there's no point in waiting around. I had the next logical card. I put it down. So now there's no reason for Daniel to wait around either.
See, I had the 7, 8, 9 from the beginning, but even if I play the 7, it's still worth me holding on to the 8 and 9 in my hand, so that to let you think that you might be able to find them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you saw, like I think my multiplier for green was the first card I put down, because I had the 2-4, the 2-4-6 or something. So that's like a pretty good start, right? At least I have some cards to play, was my thinking at the time. Okay, I guess now I got to start up this track.
And now I can start slowly playing all these blue cards that I've been slowly fishing for.
Yeah. Now it picks up.
Okay.
So we're pulling less cards from the trash, and now we're putting more cards from the deck. So the round is going to wrap up pretty quick at this point.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's basically how this game goes, is that once you're comfortable with the flow of it, it just goes so fast. You can sit amiably with your partner, with your friend, over a couple of rounds of this with a nice drink. And you don't have to say a lot, and it's just really pleasant company, pleasant way to pass some time.
I feel right now it feels pretty, not quite inevitable, but like I know what I'm going to do for the rest of the game. So it's just a matter of playing it out, short of any big upsets.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on the size of the remaining deck. It's got 16 cards now, but that could go quick. So you're going big in blue. I know that, so I'm going to get rid of my negotiations for blue.
Okay, how many turns we have left here? Okay. Might be a bit late to start doing this, but let's go.
Oh, wow. Going for a fourth color.
Yeah, yellow is not paying off for me. So I need to get some points somewhere.
Risky.
Yep. I know the first thing that you said, don't do this, and I'm doing that.
Don't go for every color.
Just watch me.
Risky. Yeah, so 12 cards left in the pile. The round is almost over. Daniel's just jumping on a fourth color. Well, you know what? Just like a real life expedition, you gotta go big or go home.
You gotta roll with the punches, or the giant boulders. what may come.
Yeah, just like a lot of Reiner Knizia's games, you could argue that this theme is painted on. I think it's painted on pretty thinly, but it's still exciting. I think it's still exciting in a fairly chill way, a fairly casual way.
Yeah, so many of his games have just been like rethemed completely because they're so abstract, and that's generally not been my first preference for games. Oh, so I didn't even miss that it was my turn because things are just flowing so quickly right now. Okay. Oh no, I played and I had to draw a card. Is that what I missed? Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so back to me. I think people watching my screen kind of know what's going on at this point for me.
Yeah, I've now got more cards to play than I have turns to do. So I guess I really have to map this out now. You don't want to get
stuck there. Yeah.
Because I planned and I've drawn other cards that could fit into that, but it's not worth taking the time. So how many turns do I explicitly have left? Like say
the
4?
Even numbers. Yeah.
So 4 turns.
4 turns, 4 cards.
Okay. Well, let's do this then.
Yeah, and then my side, I have about 3 cards that I need to get played, and then I'm good. If I play a 4th card, that's gravy.
Oh, there's a big jump in points. Oh wow, yeah, because you've got 2 handshakes on that. Okay. Well, it was to be expected.
Yeah, that was a late game decision too, as you recall. Nobody was going for red for a while there.
But we dumped so much on red that it was basically free for the pickings.
Exactly.
Now, here's a question. Can I drag the game out any longer by not taking from the draw pile?
You could, yeah, you could. If you don't need to get certain cards in a color, absolutely, you could.
I have the cards I need.
Just draw from the discards. Yeah, so that is basically the only lever you have to sort of extend the game.
I mean, it's still a finite number of cards even out there anyway, I guess.
Yeah, precisely.
Nearly in the green.
Okay, so there's 5 cards left in the deck. I guess I'm just gonna stall. I might get a couple more cards.
We'll try to accelerate. You really want, I guess.
Yeah, that's the question you got to ask yourself: is stalling worth it? Depending on what the other guy wants to do. How many turns do I have? I could risk for 1 more turn. Okay, now to play my last cards.
Oh, you still had more up your sleeve? Wow.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay.
Came in at the last moment.
Oh, I'm just happy to not be in the negatives. I don't think I have anything else. I could have played another card, obviously, but I wasn't expecting to have another turn. So I guess I'll just dump.
I think I should have played a different card. Actually, I could have scored a couple more points there. All right, so you got in the positives. That's not bad.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. So that's a round of Lost Cities. Honestly, yeah, if you know the rules, it really goes fast. 10 minutes is easy, and you can get, yeah, like I said, best 2 out of 3 is a really fun evening with someone you know. And it's so compact. This game is, I really like it. I think it's got a lot of legs for a casual light game.
Absolutely, yeah. It's. I know you've spoken in the past in the podcast about really digging the games where you can read your opponents, and that's not something I've necessarily leaned into much in the past. But I can really see that here. So if you're playing with the same person over and over again, there's not necessarily much replayability. You're not going to see much variety in the mechanics game to game, obviously, but how you interact with your opponent is going to shift quite a bit. So if you're really into those head-on-head challenges, I can see that being quite you could play it quite casually, I guess, or quite aggressively at the same time. So
exactly, because best out of 5, best out of 7. Yeah, that's why I recommend this one. I thought with the stream we could do a light, short game. This is one I highly recommend. Yeah, you're right. I like those games where you could sort of play the other player, right? Is play more with reading their mind, which I'm not actually really good at with larger player counts, right? You know me, Race for the Galaxy, 7 Wonders. I can't really keep track of what other players are going for in multiplayer games, but in a 2-player game, you only have one opponent to keep track of. So I think that is a lot more possible, is to read the other player's mind and see their play with a kind of risk tolerance.
Yeah, I've really come to appreciate 2-player games. It's not something I've played much of in the past, but partly the limitations of lockdown. And we know we covered 7 Wonders Duel recently on the podcast, which is now a favorite of mine. And that doesn't quite have so much of the reading your opponent, but more just the direct you can really focus on what they're trying to do and trying to counter that rather than being spread across multiple opponents. Really zeroing in on one other player can open up a whole bunch of other strategies.
Yeah, Seven Wonders Duel. We talked about it a whole episode, but I think that game is really a lot about reading the game state.
More than
I don't know how
opponent,
much you can really read into the other player. I suppose you could say, well, they're going to go for this card. That's about the best you can do, because it's a draft, right?
Yeah, but it does mean you can somewhat math out the board state a bit more than in a 7-player Seven Wonders game.
Right. In this game, Lost City is the card game. There's a healthy amount of chance, obviously, because you're always playing with the deck. You're competing against the deck, basically, holding out hope that you're going to get the right cards, and you're also competing against your opponent. So those two things, if you can track them, I mean, it's not a card counting game by any means, but you definitely, when I play it, I like to get a sense of, play with the probabilities, right? Light probabilities, just enough brain work that it keeps it fresh and exciting. So for that reason, I like it.
Yeah, I'll have to. Speaking of Andrea from Rain City Games, who they just posted out in the comments, we'll have to ask if maybe she can tell us if they've got it in stock. I'm curious to find the new edition with the Vincent Dutrait artwork, who's a new favorite artist of mine. But
or the board game or the roll and write.
Well, yeah, I've heard good things about the roll and write. I'll have to see if I can track that down as well. But I guess we should start wrapping up. Andrea did say we're welcome to go over, but it'll take us a couple of minutes just to do our plugs and wrap things up here, I guess.
Yeah, let's wrap it up there. Let's talk about the next game we're going to cover, which I think we have a rough idea of. We didn't agree beforehand, but this will be fun.
Yes, yeah. Well, we've discussed this a little bit on the podcast previously, and I mean, we are dipping back onto the digital side of the coin for our next episode, and we're going to be looking at Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game from last year. I discussed that a little bit on the podcast previously because we discussed the Avengers video game
right.
a few episodes ago, and I'd played this Guardians of the Galaxy game earlier this year, but it's now hit Game Pass. We are both terrible at
terrible shills for Microsoft.
Yes, basically, yeah. Throw a coin in the Game Pass bucket. It's our Game Pass, so you can all play along if you wish and join the comments and discussions. So Mark's now been playing that as well, and so we'll
chapter
be discussing
10 or so.
Excellent. There are quite a few chapters in that game, though. It's longer than you'd think.
16, I hear.
So that sounds about right. Yeah. So yeah, a couple of weeks, I guess, from now we'll be discussing that.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, I want to thank Andrea again for inviting us on TCTC for another year. This is exciting. I look forward to see. I guess you have another stream you're going to tell people about in a moment. Yes,
yeah, I'll be joining Dennis Quadrain, one of the TCTC favorites. He's usually, I think, I'm sure everyone who's been to TC will know Dennis. That's certainly where I met him. But we'll be baking some game day treats tomorrow. He's been doing some cooking streams on Twitch, which I'm a big fan of. So I've invited him into my own kitchen, and we're gonna bake together in one place. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time now, since I started my board game feast content. So we're going to be baking from the kitchen. That's tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be playing. Well, we're going to try and play I Love Cats. Let me see if I've got it. No, I've got the base game. I don't have the roll and draw version of I Love Cats. This is the base game. But we're going to be playing that. If we have time, we'll play through a session on stream. Otherwise, we'll just give a bit of a demo of it and just discuss the game a little bit. And yeah, we're gonna bake a little treat to pair with that. So stay tuned. I guess I'll catch you tomorrow morning.
Very nice. I'll just say, for those unaware, catch us at Tesco's Game. Catch me at Tesco's Games on Twitter. We are Mark and Daniel from the Omnigamers Club Podcast. You can catch up at catch us at omnigamers.club on the internet, and then we're on obviously Apple and Spotify and wherever you get your
Capture
podcasts.
of choice, yeah.